And of course, to rebut what you just heard, here is Dsouza again.
Somehow when I debate Michael Shermer, I always feel like I'm watching a rodeo. I see a point here, I see a point there, but a lot of bull in between. Now, I want to begin. Don't laugh too much, he's timing me. Now, I want to begin with a point that Shermer raised in his opening statement, in which he said, how would we know if we were to encounter God? What kind of proof are we looking for? What kind of evidence counts? And he implied that you can't really go the God direction, because if you find something complex, the explanation for it has got to be even more complex. You can't simply say God. Now, I want to suggest that this is a sort of bizarre way of reasoning. We are actually, as we speak, scientists are trying to discover intelligent life in the universe. There's a whole project to look for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence out there. Now, let's say that these scientists discovered that they received in some kind of a code a set of numbers. And these numbers were all the prime numbers, going up and up and up, all the way from 1 into the hundreds of millions. Only prime numbers, leaving everything else out. Wouldn't this be a strong indication that since these numbers the probability of them being randomly generated is infinitesimal, some sort of intelligence must have sent this? Now, Michael Shermer would say, no way. Why? Because here you've got a pattern, a complex pattern, and you cannot posit that this pattern was caused by an intelligent being. All I'm saying is, we have to decide as human beings what's out there, whether there's intelligence that is grounding the universe based on what we know. If we see signs of intelligence in nature, built into nature, chances are that there is intelligence behind the universe. Now, in some ways, in his rebuttal, Shermer went in a very interesting direction. He actually denied what probably 99% of all scientists in the world believe, that they are actually describing an external reality. Shermer says no. We're not describing an external reality, we're just describing the workings of our own mind. Really, what we call science isn't an account of what's out there, it's really an account of what's in here. And what's in here has evolved. I would suggest that if that is true, then science has no claim to be describing or giving an account of reality as a whole, only of the psychology of human beings. And moreover, if this psychology itself is evolved, then it is merely evolved to adapt and survive. It has not necessarily evolved to believe what's true. In other words, no scientific proposition can be believed to be true. Why? Because these brains of ours evolved not to discover truth, merely to get our genes into the next generation. In the movie Expelled, which discusses intelligent design with Ben Stein, in one interesting moment in that movie, asks the atheist Richard Dawkins, how did life get here? How did it begin? And Dawkins says, after hemming and hawing and saying he didn't really know, he says, well, maybe extraterrestrials brought it to Earth from some other planet. And Ben Stein very poignantly said, Richard Dawkins believes in intelligent design. Life was, in fact, not a product of random chance, but a designing intelligence from some other sphere deposited it here, apparently deliberately. Now, here's what I'm getting at. The evolutionary explanation of the origin of life is a very difficult one. Why? Our planet is some 4.5 billion years old. Life shows up on this planet quite soon in evolutionary time, about 3.5 billion years ago. And the single simplest cell is in its structure and in its operation so complex, it defies reason to say that this is just the product of probability and chance. Francis Crick, who the co-discoverer of DNA, thought that was so ridiculous. He says, you virtually have to believe in miracles to believe it happened that way. So once again, what we are doing here, science has made huge advances in certain areas. but it's left our biggest questions unanswered. Why are we here? How did we get here? Where are we going? On these questions, we are not much further ahead than we were from the time of the Babylonians. Science has not clarified the biggest questions of life in a fundamental way. So we should rely on science, but it's not the only kind of knowledge. Thank you.